Am I bleeding? I'm on fire.
Actually, you were.
Is it bad?
Okay, now you're dripping.
Ah!
It's really gross.
Ah! All right, so I've made up my mind. We're getting rid of the 3060. We are going to be switching over to the Allison 2000. Just seems like that's going to be a little bit easier of a route for us. The 2000 also has a better 6 gear. It's a 0.61 instead of 0.65, so we might get an extra mile an hour or two. You never know. That's the plan. So today we're going to be yanking this back out of here. Kind of wish I hadn't Loctited all the bolts in. But we're going to be yanking the 3060 out, trying to get it out of the way on the other side of the garage. That way we are ready when we go pick up this new transmission. And if you notice, everything has like a matte finish to it. It is so humid here. I opened up the garage door probably an hour ago, and this is all condensation because of how humid it is. I also want to take a minute and thank everyone for all your support. In the last video, the intro was a little bit controversial and I knew it would step on a few people's toes. We did lose like 4 subscribers in like the first hour, but the video did amazing. Thanks to you guys for watching more of it. We were actually like close to 80% watch time at the beginning and dropped down a little bit towards the end, which is usually how it goes. You guys are awesome. I got way more comments supporting it and saying I watch the videos through every time, no matter what, than I did like negative ones. Thank you guys for all your support. I want to get working on this radiator. If you remember, we hit it with the truck and put a little gash into one of the tubes here. If we're going to fix that, we also knocked it over and broke a couple of these cheap things that hold the radiators, fans on. They're also all really loose. I'm gonna have to unbolt the radiator to get to the front of it to fix that, but that's what we're doing today. My plan was to get the radiator fixed, the fans fixed, and then bolt the core support back onto the truck. But since we moved the engine forward, I don't know how much room there's gonna be, and we're gonna have to bar the engine over. I don't wanna create more work for myself. I don't know for sure that we wouldn't be able to get a wrench in there. Maybe once we get it kind of done, we'll set it up into place and just see how tight it is. Because without the fenders on there, you can kind of wiggle it back and forth on the mounts, so there might be enough wiggle room to get a bar in there. We'll see. I also want to take off these battery trays. As you can tell, my paint did not hold up very well. This one did all right. This battery didn't leak as much juices. This one did leak a little bit more. So we're going to take them both off, clean them up, and we're going to hit them with the implement paint with some hardeners, see if that lasts a little bit longer. Let's get to it. So this is not my first time playing around with radiator repair. I actually spent a bunch of time on the old radiator fixing like 10 leaks, and then I smashed it on something, putting it in, and we had enough. So that's our leak right there. You're going to take the fins, they're nearby. Just yank them out of there, you don't need those. Now we're going to take a little bit of sandpaper and try to clean it up as best we can. Get yourself some flux or solder paste, whatever you call it. This is going to help clean out all the dirt and imperfections, and it'll get your solder to flow in there better. Heat it up a little. Hit it a few times with the flux. That'll help clean all the dirt out of there. This is metalworking solder as opposed to the regular solder. Not sure what's different about it, but it's a silver bearing acid core solder. So maybe it's the acid core. I don't know. It costs more than the other stuff. Alright, so we tried to repair this radiator. It didn't go well. I think I cut off the recording part of the way through. I repaired that other radiator, no problem. It was like the easiest thing ever. This radiator, I don't know what these tubes are made out of, but it sure ain't good metal because I could not get solder to stick to it for the life of me. I tried 2 different kinds of solder, more paste. I tried cleaning it. I even took my die grinder here with some sandpaper on it and chewed right down to really clean metal, and nothing would stick to it. So, and then at the end I was like, I'm probably just not getting it hot enough, so I melted the whole tube, got it hot enough, but it just like, you know, like melting it just like turned to paper. So ordered a new radiator, and I managed to screw that up as well. Went on the old eBay, found a fairly cheap all aluminum radiator, and it was like less than 200 bucks. And I guess I didn't read the whole thing. I did read it, all right? And I read, the part that I read said 35 to 45% more efficient than stock units. Holds more coolant than stock units. So, radiator showed up the other day. It's half the thickness of this one. It's a single row radiator, and this is a dual row radiator. Apparently it's 35 to 40% more efficient over stock units and holds more coolant. But being half the size, I don't know how that's possible. The thinner radiator could be good for us because we did move the engine forward. There should be enough room that nothing's gonna hit the radiator because I did measure beforehand. My measurements aren't always accurate. The thinner radiator would just give us a little more clearance if we ever did have to reach down in here, change a belt, change the filters, what have you, but it's thinner, so it's not going to cool as much. So I don't really know what to make of all that. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you think the single row would be good enough. That's where we're at with that. That radiator's going to the scrapyard. Kind of sucks, but they just don't make them like they used to. So we're going to get that radiator pulled out of there, and we're going to lift the core support on and get it bolted to the frame just kind of temporarily, just to see how much room we're going to have. Let's get this truck pushed out of the way and get that core support lifted up and bolted on.
Don't forget the bell light. Dad.
So my one shift seal here has been leaking pretty much ever since I got the transfer case in the truck. I did replace both shift seals when I did this, or when I put the transfer case together, but I do know that I struggled to get the shift rail in for the front here, and that happens to be the one that looks like it's leaking. It's had like a constant little drizzle coming out of it, so but I'm gonna try to get it out and replace it without pulling the whole shift rail. I don't know if I can do it or not, but we're we're gonna try. New seal kit showed up today for the 205. These seal kits are great. They come with every gasket you would ever need for the 205. This one was like 35 bucks or something like that. I already got the old shift seal out, so we're gonna clean that up a little bit, clean the shaft off, and then we'll slide that new seal on and we'll get it driven in. Pull this yoke off, put our new seal in, then we'll get that torqued to spec. All right, new seals are in. Pretty simple job. Hardest part was getting that seal out. That thing did not want to come out. I know I could take that whole bearing retainer off and make it way easier, but the bearing retainer itself didn't leak. Now, a lot of you are gonna say, you know, Drew, you should get yourself a seal puller. They work really nice. I would have gotten that out way quicker. I'm with you, but I once had a seal puller and it was a Harbor Freight. Dang near as dangerous as the jag stands.
Oh no.
Am I bleeding? I'm on fire.
It's really gross.
The yoke nut gets torqued to 130 foot-pounds. Since I don't have any drive shafts hooked up, I just used my press handle through the rear yoke with the strap bolts on, or the U-bolts on, and that seemed to do pretty good. And typically you would grease your spline shaft, but on these they want you to RTV them. I don't know who they is, but at some point I read that you're supposed to RTV the spline shaft on these because they kind of go through into like the mix of everything, and so the RTV will seal your spline shaft. We haven't had any issues yet, and that's what we did on all three of these when we had them apart last time. And a viewer actually suggested replacing the nuts on these because the nylon can wear out. These are not nylon nuts, and I'm far too cheap to replace them, so we put some red Loctite on there. Good enough. All right, guys, that's gonna be a wrap for this video. This video was a little bit of a hodgepodge of different things, some clips that I've kind of compiled for the past couple of weeks. I do kind of have some bad news. For you guys anyway. Sometimes life gets in the way of projects like this. My family and personal life come before this. This is just a hobby. And unfortunately for you guys, that affects you. There probably are not going to be any truck videos for a while. Nothing bad. We're not getting a divorce. We're not bankrupt. It's all good, I promise. And you'll find out on good time what is happening, but we are finishing the truck, don't you worry. I am going to try to continue to bring you content. It will not be truck related, but I'm definitely going to try to do a couple of videos in this time that hopefully you guys will enjoy. And if something pops up that's not your taste and you don't want to watch it, just skip it. You know, you don't have to tell me like, okay, I'm here for truck stuff. What is this? It is what it is, and that's life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. This is the end of the video. I had a place to welcome you, but if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos, even though it might be a little bit. Leave your guesses down below as to what's going on in my life. that's delaying this project. I'm sure you guys will anyways, that's what you do. But thank you all for your love and support throughout all this project. Thank you for everyone who's bought the merch. It's definitely gonna help. Once we get back working on the project, we'll have like a little nest egg set aside to start buying some parts and get working on this and get things done, you know? Thanks for supporting what we do. We'll see you in the next one. Jeez, I thought that said no SD card for a minute. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been talking to a camera for 10 minutes without an SD card again.